Hello. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you praise, we give you glory, we give you honor. We thank you for loving us. We thank you for wisdom. We thank you for knowledge. I dedicate myself in your hands. Let your will be done. Let your love prevail. Speak to your people. Lord, take over my mind, my thoughts, my body, from the crown of my head to the heel of my foot. Let your love prevail. As we study your word, speak through me, Lord. Control my personal emotions and speak through me, Lord. I dedicate my head, from the crown of my head to the heel of my foot, my thoughts, my mind, and everything that concerns me. I give you praise, I give you glory, I give you honor. Thank you, Lord, for loving us. I give you praise, Lord. In Jesus' mighty name I believe and pray, amen. And Father, I pray for every man and woman you've chosen for such a time as this to attend these classes, to help their loved ones, to help their countries, to help their families, to help their industry, to help their companies. As we raise the next in line, as we look for the next in line in families, the next in line at workplace, the next in line for government, the next in line for church, the next in line for media, the next in line for economics, for education, the next in line in music, dance and drama and sports. Men and women who are called to put your agenda on the forefront. Men and women who are ready and willing to pay the price to see that your agenda is put across all over the world. The men and women who are ready to walk right with you. The men and women who are ready to raise the right people. The right agenda should be passed, the agenda of the Lord. Because he said in this season, no man or woman is going to be put in the position of leadership when their agenda is not your agenda. Father, I pray that all other countries that haven't yet gotten presidents, Father, they stand for what is coming their way. They are ready for their campaigning and voting season. Father, I use Uganda as a point of contact. We are left with only this year, and next year we are getting a new president. Father, I pray that a man and the woman you've chosen for the season is the only man that steps on that seat, is the only man that goes to the State House, is the only man that goes to Nakasero, is the only man that goes to Entebbe, is the only man or woman, Father, who is from you, direct from the throne. Touch people's hearts as they prepare to vote for their next in line. Father, you change the hearts of kings. Plant the right names in people's hearts. It has nothing to do with which political party. It has nothing to do with whose family they come from, which tribe. Father, only a man or a woman who has your agenda at heart. Father, we are tired of witch doctors in the presidential house. We are tired of witch doctors in government, where we have the chief in command, the ministers, the members of a parliament, the local government, the LCs, from the lowest back to the president's office. Father, King of glory, this is their last year in office. A man and a woman who is into witchcraft. Father, this is their last year. Any public office that government has a hand in, we are getting men and women who are not in witchcraft. When it comes to land, Father, if the Attorney General does not work right with you, Father, this is their last time in that office. When we go to the Ministry of Finance, if the man in charge and women who work with the Ministry of Finance, their agenda is not good and they're working in witchcraft, Father, this is their last time in that office. 2026, we are getting new leaders in every sector, in every department. Those who work with the Ministry of Energy, those who work with the Ministry of Transport, those who work with the Ministry of Education, those who work with the Ministry of Labor and Gender. Father, if they are not working right with you and their agenda is not you, Father, this is their last time in office. They will not last. Those who work in the parliament, on the opposition and from the ruling party, Father, if they're working in witchcraft, they are not seeing the parliament after this year. This is the time where they prepare themselves. They would have started preparing themselves from the time they got to know that they want to be in the parliament. Because you're not voting any man or woman who is into witchcraft anymore. Because the government is made up of the president, the ministers, those from the local council, those are the LCs. The parliament is part of government. And us who vote them in power, because the parliament sits to make sure the right policies are passed. Father, men and women who are in the ruling party and the opposition, if they are working in witchcraft, Father, I fire them today in Jesus' mighty name. They are going to be fired. They are going to make all the mistakes there is. I send the spirit of confusion right now in their camps. When they stand to speak, we are going to see their hearts in Jesus' mighty name. Those who are aspiring to come and work with the government of Uganda, from the president to the lowest, those who clean the president's office, those who clean the parliament, those who work with justice, they are all going to be fired if they're working in witchcraft. Those who work in lands, those who work with Buganda, those who work with the different kingdoms, if you're working in witchcraft and your part is to destroy people in leadership, at the sound of my voice, you're fired in Jesus' mighty name. 2026 is a new slate. 2026 is a new slate for only men and women who are passing God's agenda. But to all selfish human beings, be it in schools, because government works with schools. Government, I don't mean the president. The president is just the chief in charge. The church, the seven spheres, family, religion, government, education, economics, the media, where we find TV, radio, the internet, Uganda Communications Commission. We have entertainment where we find music, dance, and drama, and sports. The seven spheres. All the leaders in these spheres, if you don't work right with the Lord, you're fired. You don't have a position in 2026. It has nothing to do with your parties. We don't vote parties in power. We vote people. It's not the party that works. It's people that work. If you know you own a school and you're into witchcraft, you're not getting students starting next year. If you know you influence anyone out there and you're into witchcraft. No more support from anyone. The Western world closed their doors. This is where we are going to see faith, wearing the army uniform, from the crown of your head to your foot. You have the helmet of salvation. You have righteousness as your breastplate. The shield is your faith. It is time to put your faith in the Lord, not sponsors. Not sponsors. Every man and woman is going to test what they mean to walk in faith. Your shield. It is time to buckle up. Your shoes. We are tired of the gossip. We want the gospel, not the gossip. It is time to wear your belt that is speaking the truth. No man or woman who lies about people is going to see a day and light in leadership. I don't care who you are. When it comes to leaders, we don't play around. This ground is training leaders. Those next in line, and making sure that those who are already there, make sure by the time you leave, you're leaving us the right men and women to take over. If we don't change, the old leaders are going to stay in and they are going to work double shift. No man or woman is going to be paid when they haven't worked. It is time to walk the talk. No more tick-tocking. It is time to walk the talk, not tick-tock. If your agenda is to bring the devil's agenda, this is where we part ways. Whether you come from my family bloodline, whether you know me or you don't, this is where we part ways. And the ground is going to open. Brace yourself. Hope you're ready to go. I don't care how much money you have. The earth and its fullness belong to the Lord. The earth and its fullness belong to the Lord. Psalms 24. Hope you studied last year. It was Psalms 24 last year. This is 2025, which is 45. Are you 45? Brace yourself and buckle up. It's a little bit bumpy and it's safety first. Safety first. Wear your seatbelt, because that seat you're seated in, you're going to see where authority comes from. It's only the men with the God's agenda that are going to get positions. The US was just the tip of the iceberg. Uganda, you are a pivot. The equator passes through Uganda. It's called the Pearl of Africa. The day you will understand who you are, Uganda, you will stop selling yourself so short to the devil. Because every bidder out there wants Uganda, a piece of Uganda. But as long as I breathe, you're not going to take free things. You want to enter Uganda, you want to work with Uganda, you're going to work double shift. Double shift. You want a double portion, you work double shift so that you get full. Rock of ages, clap for me. Let me hide myself in thee. Let the water and the brook. Here we speak our local languages because you understand better in your mother tongue. You have gadgets out there for interpretation. It is time to start investing in the right things. We are not here to play. I don't eat on social media. When social media plays dirty, we close down the channels of every man and woman out there. Enough of using social media to destroy one another, because that's the other weapon It's called the media department. Social media was created for communication with our families when we are not next to them. But if you're going to use social media to destroy people, it will shut down automatically. When you delight in the Lord, you get the desires of your heart. Your channels will be terminated for good this time round. So tread with the care. Because you want to be loved, you want to be supported, you want people to buy your things, you're going to learn to send the same energy out. You bring negative energy, the devil is your father. And when you are a daughter or a son to the devil, it doesn't work well with some of us. Because we are out. Behind me, there are 7,000 of us. You terminate one, you've touched God's eye. Careful. We are the apple of his eye. Without the eye, you're blind, right? You tell us that it's about loving each other. You're going to tell me what love is all about. You want to pass the devil's agenda, don't cross my path. Some of us can go through the wall. We've gone through the training. Hence, we are ready in our army uniform to serve whoever comes on the table. But if your agenda doesn't come from the Lord, you'll just see the seats. Razi reta nedogue oranjati kidanze omo mwene kwekela omo sayi gwe mwegwava ebibi binzieko ponyamu manyigavyo emirimu jengalo no kufuwa kwa moyo. You want to be forgiven and you want to be loved and be treated right, right? It's a two-way traffic. It's a dual carriage. You want to be treated right. You want to be supported in any way. You don't support anyone? Watch your back. You know when you're the one in the seat. You want everyone to be there. Oh, madam, madam, madam. When other people step in the seat, you get tired and get busy, right? You even don't have shame to come out and say, I don't have time to be on social media. When you're using social media as your business entity, right? And you want us to bring our kids in your schools. You want us to come and buy your products. Listen to your programs. You don't bring the same energy. Stay out of our way. You want to tell us that we are equal human beings? You're going to show me where equality comes from. Because I am a female, not a male. I stay in my lane as a female. I am a girl. I have breasts. I have a uterus. I go into my periods. I give birth. I have eggs, not sperms. Okay? You can do what you want. It is your life. You choose. But if you're going to choose and you come into society to destroy the likes of me, it doesn't work well. I've gone through it since 2017. Where those who think they are girls, yet they are boys. Those who think they are boys, yet they are girls, are stepping on my head. Your time ended the day I woke up in 2020. No more scaring us. You say we are equal, you're going to tell me where equality lies. You're going to draw a line. You're going to tell me what pride means. If you've ever read the book of Genesis, and the book of James. You love joining bandwagons? You're going to tell me where it was written. When they gave birth to me, they said a girl. And a girl comes with private parts that are different from a male. You can feel anything you want. You can say anything. I don't really care. I've worked with all of you, and some of you wanted to destroy me. In my own country and in the United States, it doesn't go down well with me. I work my way to the top. I don't sleep with the devil to get positions. I was raised to work hard, respect people, love people equally. But if you work for the devil, stay out of my way, and we enjoy 2025 so that we can see 2026, so that we can see 120 years from now. Hope you'll be alive to see me with gray, with more white hair. Right now I have gray hair. The Bible calls it wisdom. Read your Bible and pray every day. Get some gray hair. Stop tinting it to make it look like black. This is wisdom. Because at a young age, you're not supposed to be graying. It ain't stress. It is wisdom. Some of us come from areas where the DNA is different from other people's DNA. Don't force any agenda on anyone. Give us the liberty to choose what we want. You're not going to open a door and tell me you're welcome. Then I enter inside and you close the door and you start beating me up. I have the right to say no or yes. Where I am, I was invited into the country. I did not steal the position. I did not run away from my country. And even if I did, I qualify to be an American citizen. Because I am right now. But at the same time, I was born and raised in Uganda. When I'm going home, I make sure I pay for my visa. And I pay taxes home and abroad. Because I come from a lineage where we paid taxes and worked for government. I am in the 4th generation of men who carry leadership. The father to my great-grandmother was a king, and the mantle was passed on to her. In my country, they don't believe in a girl being a king. That is why they used to terminate children back in the day, in the 1800s and above, the 1700s, the 1600s. They would terminate the girl child. The girl child was never educated. Because I come from a lineage that was rejected. The Lord protected us. And he remembered us after 60 years. Isaac gave birth at 60. He married at 40. But because I was chosen for the next in line, and I decided to walk right with the Lord, every day I put myself together. I monitor and evaluate my day before I start a new day. I make sure I treat people right. Those who can speak the truth, who wear the belt of truth in their waist, will tell you. Some of you think when you see me, I have come to help you. I don't come to help. I come to fix what has failed you. That is my purpose in life. I was created to fix what has failed you. I bring my strength on the table for a team. I am a team player. I don't need to be on the forefront. I am not a leader who sits on the forefront. I am a leader who protects you from the back. And the so-called team leaders in your camps can sit on the forefront. Hope they can handle the power of what's coming our way. I'll protect you from the back. Let the owner of the company protect us from the front. But when they fail, that is when you see me appear on the front line. In your families, in your churches, in your governments, because I sit anywhere I want to sit. Because I was sent by the one who created us. Hope you know who created you. Rock of Ages, clap for me. Razi Reda Netugwe. Oranja kiranze. Omumwe nekwekera. Omusai gwemwe gwava. Ebibi nziyeko ponya mumanyi gabyo emirimu jengalo n'okufuba kw'omwoyo n'amazi igaga jenyo emisana n'ekiro byonna tebyawo bibi gwe wekka mulokozi sirina nze bulungi kwesize gwe bwesizi omwerere nyambaza omuna kumpechisa laba bwendi omubi naza Yesu mfabufi zenga nchali mulamu bwendi tukamu guru bwendi laba kwe Yesu emisa gongo sala Yesu lwazi olwase kane kweke ngamugwe. I do not know your life's purpose. I do not know why you're in that position. I do not know why you work with whatever government you work for. But as I told you, if it's not God's agenda, we're sorry. I don't know who sent you. Many people have approached me. I'm very careful. When I want to know your heart, I make sure I talk, and get to your nerve and I see your heart. You can't stand the fact that I talk. You will throw yourself out of the window. Because when you enter, the door is closed. Because I don't want the people inside to be attacked and killed by whoever you come with behind you. I protect the people I love with all my heart. The people I love ain't my mother and father only and siblings. I met you in school. I met you at work. I met you on the bus. I met you because of social media. Protecting you is as eating food or drinking water. You see how easy it is to swallow? That's how it is easy for me to protect you. I don't need to know you to protect you. Why do I protect you? You have children who are going to be my leaders next in line. And I'll stay in my position. I don't leave my position. I don't leave my position as a watchman. I watch, the eye is open. I hear, the ear is loud and clear. Then I blow the trumpet and I speak. I am both an intercessor and a watchman. Those two are different. Don't mix the two. Watchmen stay at the altar to make sure there is fire. Watchmen, they are outside at the gates, making sure no enemy enters the house. Some sit on top. That is where we find the cameras to look around. Now, in the Air Force, I'm not a foot soldier. But to get to the Air Force, you go through the ranks. The general I work for, you have to go through the ranks. You don't just wake up and become. It's a process line. And you don't jump any stage. Because there is no house that starts from the roof. You have to have a foundation. But since your foundations, you fear them, I'll help you. Whenever you see me in your WhatsApp group, you can block me. I have no problem with that. I've seen my friends block me and they have businesses. I've seen singers that lead church choirs. I have seen young men who have businesses where they build houses and they want us to come and rent. Let me tell you something. In this day and era, because you think you have the money and you want us to come and stay in your houses, I'm not from the rich gang. I'm from the wealth class. Our wealth does not get extinct. I can recommend people to come and they rent on your so-called apartments. But how am I going to recommend you when you've blocked me because you don't want me to send you the word of God? Yet you want our money, right? It doesn't come cheap, my friend. I'm not in your levels. Working with you, the Lord was just, it was a process. We are not in the same league. I don't care who you work for. We met at work. You think you work with the oil companies. Do you know that your oil company can pack up their bags and leave? Umeme left, Ugandans, I'm talking to you. Other nations will learn from us. Do you know that you're going to make a mistake and they fire you? And we are going to find you with your houses. We are going to find you with that business where you disrespect people because you have built rentals. I've seen my friends block me because of the gospel. And most of them know the word. But because they work with the UN, they work with the World Bank, they work with the tallow oils, the likes. I know tallow oil left Uganda. They work with government. Pastors are doing the same thing. And I sit here and I keep quiet. Then I hear the news. So-and-so was taken to prison. I'm like, where, how? Because you didn't get God's warning. Because you blocked the messenger. Let me hope the money you used to build those houses, the money you're using for your company, your personal business, is from the right channels. But if you're the type that steals money at work, brace yourself. I'll be here watching as usual. And they'll fire you at work. It will be because of your doing. You are a thief. We have very many of us who left Uganda. They are here, they want documents, but they are thieves in Uganda. They used to work with a bank. They used to work with ministries, government, at large, from the president's office, below the ground. They work in Buganda, they work with different, but because they are thieves, that's why I come out to deal with a thief that is in your family. Because you come from homes, your foundations have thieves. Your uncles steal land. And you cannot talk because your uncle works with the World Bank. You can't talk because your uncle, your auntie. Let me tell you something. My family members cannot approach me and badmouth me when I'm watching. When I turn like this, then they badmouth me. Because they cannot handle the power I carry. Because I have the authority over all of them. Because if your mother refuses to get married to your father, when are you going to meet each other? The power of family and association. In my family, many people have jobs because someone who died long time ago connected them. They just made a call. When it was my turn for work, they all turned the other side. I cried and I asked the Lord why. And the Lord told me, Esther, the levels are different. I was like, what do you mean the levels are different? After all, I was not introduced in the family that I'm the heir. They introduced somebody else. The Lord is like, my perfect timing for such a time as this, because I wasn't yet of age. With man it is 40. With God it's 30. Before I made 40, in 2020, this is 2024, I made 40. In 2020, I was 36. I made 36 on 1st November. Misery started in 2016 when I was 31. As in misery because of opening my mouth. You thought I was quiet because of what? It was witchcraft, and some of you contributed to it. Every time a family member goes back to the shrine, I struggle. But when I met 40, I had to shut down every mouth that goes to witchcraft. And most of you are struggling. Your own children are struggling. Some of you thought you can block me and badmouth me in front of the big. It's very unfortunate that where you think you can badmouth me from, I am on top of them. When you steal a position, it is not yours. You're just a keeper of the seat. When God gets tired of your stealing lifestyle, the owner gets it back. And now you're back on the table. You who told me in my phone by shouting at me and telling me not to tell people that I carry kingship, your families carry witchcraft. I know it for a fact. This is not your fight. Don't bother yourself. Don't be part of a fight you don't understand. I don't engage in physical wars. Because I told you, I've been warning you that every family that is into witchcraft in Uganda, get ready. You're going to see houses blaze. You have seen certain things, right? I told you all over the world. In 2020, I told you. The Lord said, stop getting documents because of marriage, because you don't know the foundations in marriage. And I told you that whoever went in for asylum, allow the Lord to do his way. And Canada was the first country to release a list of men and women who were given documents in 2020. Go back in my classes. Go back in my classes. And I warned you that a lot is going to happen. And because you're the prophet, okay, Esther, our pastor saw it. Why is your pastor not seeing me? Why is your pastor throwing me off the WhatsApp group? Why is your reverend not seeing me? Why is your imam not seeing me? And you all ended up using the word tuliwaweru, right? All I needed was a point of contact and you gave it to me straight. That's what the Lord does. and you say, Desangali, she's my relative. You thought you're wise, eh? You're just a wiseacre. Now you started, we are abroad. Yes, we are abroad. So that other people who don't speak my language can understand. And you ended up, Ugandans, I just love you for one thing. If I can't penetrate the West Africa, you used this and we penetrated West Africa in a special way. This is called Uganda Waraji, the spirit that binds us. You got visitors from where? And you gave them Uganda Waraji. Thank you so much for making my work easy. I just love the way you're very cooperative. Yeah, we are supposed to be unity. We work together. My part is to come here and teach, and you feel so bad, and you're like, she's confused. I want you don't listen. Then I want you to go and brand Uganda Waraji. Now you're branding MTN. It's yellow, right? Money. Money is taking you to the next level. Every time you want money, you're doing it for me, man. Now I don't have to struggle. I don't join struggles. I just strategize. And you bring everyone on the table the way I want it. The Lord gives us the desires of our hearts when we delight in the Lord. You thought you closed your waka church group, your waka auto group, you blocked me. In the schools. Welcome to the wing, where we delight in the Lord and we get the desires of our hearts. Psalms 37. That God is everywhere. I've always been everywhere for 40 years. And it started in the 1800s, 1700s. It's a legacy. Rewind it again and again, don't complicate it. I say rewind. You went and did this. I made it a point that I buy a bottle at the airport before I left. Because I audited Nile breweries. They were sending dirty water in River Nile. You don't send dirty water in River Nile. If you know your company is around the River Nile and it's sending dirty water, NEMA is coming for you. Wherever River Nile passes, the authority is coming for you. You have the power and authority. And lifter of my hands. You're next to any water body. And you're sending polluted water. It's environment, air, water, and earth. You're an environment officer and you're blocking Esther, right? Everything about you, I love everything. And you have a company that does environmental impact assessment and audits. You handle health and safety in a company, right? Beautiful, contagious. Hope you have a certificate of operation. I don't need another lover. The land where you're operating is yours, right? You have the original documents. The owner of that land is coming to claim it. Hope you paid the debt of the advance money you got from your workplace, from the bank, because they're coming for the property. Everything about you. We are exercising faith, the shield. So open your mouth wisely in the season. Everything about you. I love everything about you. You catch a falling star. If I ask you, are the cross you made away? You leave the 99 I'm not scaring you. Your poor character has disrespected you. Your poor character from your lineage has disrespected you, not me. And when you close me out of your WhatsApp number, I don't send things again now. I don't. No, my friend. That means I am useless in your life. My time with you is done. I have a lot to do. My time with you is done. Make sure the group you joined, make sure the so-called new friends can take on your poor character. I left a message that be careful when you're throwing out your old friends. The old broom knows all the corners of the house. Make sure the friends you hang around with in the season, they have the power to pray for that poor character of yours to leave. I did my part. It was an honor to serve you. It was an honor to walk with you when you didn't have anything. It was an honor to pray for you when you were sick. But I have more work to do. Every day my levels change. The ground is bigger. There's a time I told you that you take people for granted. A time is going to come when you send a message and you have a secretary answering my phone. Then you start saying, she changed the levels. That girl, she was our friend. Kale, we studied with her. I remember I told you, the next time you're going to hear about me, Esther had also blocked me. You're going to read the newspapers. Let me hope by the time you read the newspapers, you won't be 20 again. You'll be having 5 children, right? And you would want your children to come to the US, right? And you're going to look for someone who can help you, who can host your children when they come to study, right? Have some wisdom. Esther, I work for this English company. They're going to pack their bags and leave Uganda. When they are leaving Uganda, they can't take you with them. It's been happening ever since I woke up. Investors are closing their doors because they're giving you agendas you don't want. Investors are closing daily. Most of you quarreled about Umeme. Umeme left long time ago. ESCOM left long time ago. I audited their work. I did work for Umeme. Power stations. Our part is to audit, assess and 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 audit. We write books and send to them and they are approved. The men I worked with, most of them are dead right now. The women are dead. I'm still breathing. I allowed to do all the donkey work. And those who thought that they were big, they will come and use my work. I told the late Dr. Paul Segawa, when you go and read his profile, you will be surprised. He died at 50 years. We had Shell work. We did work for Shell Uganda, the fuel company, the gas company. Shell Uganda is not a Ugandan company. I've worked for Toyota Uganda. I've worked for Total. We have Toyota and Total. I've done work for all those big companies. I've worked for the oil industry. It's the infrastructures, industries, infrastructures, everything you call big. We've done work for the UN, for the World Bank. Thanks to my parents that took me to school. Thanks to my country that paid my tuition, thanks to my auntie that stood in the gap since 1997. When I did my primary leaving examination after 7 years of school. Thanks to the government, the Norwegian government, that paid my tuition for my master's to do renewable energy and biogas. To the Norwegians, I did my part. But someone's son thought they are wise enough and they sat on our work. I never graduated, but my work is published. When you put in my names, you will not see my names. But when you put in my supervisor's name, you'll see my work. And you cannot access my work because I'm the author. I can't give you permission when it's not me who published the work. I did the work from scratch and it was approved. And he became a professor. People have been taking credit for the work I've done my whole life. You can take it, I have no problem with it. Hope you learn a thing or two. When you want to be tall, careful when you're stepping on people like me. Uganda, your schools have been catching fire and you're blaming it on the president of Uganda. The devil sits in one person like this. Of course, the president has to be blamed for it because he's the president anyway. I carry the mantles. Because if Baganda had not killed each other and stealing, the current president of Uganda wouldn't have seen that seat. That's why they started to fight for it. But those fights start from the Chintu generation. It's not Museveni. Museveni just sat in a seat that already had blood. That seat, when you sit in there, the spirit that reigns in there is for kings. They love to dominate. The kings in the old generation, the 1800s, Mutebi looks like he has no power. That they say everything, he does everything they say, and he looks like this. That day I prayed for him, I made sure the heart of God sits inside his heart, and he took over power again. They no longer think for him. They do what he says. I made sure. That's why he looks so handsome now. When you look at me, do I look as sick as I used to look? I only get healed because of the obedience. I had to stand, repent on behalf of my house. From the 4th generation, the king himself, the father to my great-grandmother. I had to repent on behalf of my great-grandmother, Namboze Ludia, aka Kaveja. I had to repent on behalf of my grandmother, the girl, the last of her generation in the Chitakule Dunta. The Bible interpreters from Luganda to English. Sorry, from English to Luganda. This is the original Luganda Bible. It came from the King James. I come from lineages of Bible interpreters. History is very, very important. But since you don't understand it because you carry the devil in your heart, even on Jesus' time, his family did not support him the way it should. That is why he said he's going to go. He will not leave us as orphans. And we will do mighty and greater things. When your grandmother dies, when your grandfather dies, when your mother dies, when your father dies, you're supposed to be better than they are. Unfortunately, our generation, we are worse than the old generation. Because we have added the bad manners of the old generation, included the bad manners of the circles where we sit, because they said in our team, you do things on intentional. What is intentional? Using people to get what you want. Most of you don't have fathers. You were raised by other men. Who bothered to educate you? Have you ever gone to that family and say hello? The men that educated you in school? My father was not raised by his father. His father died when he was 8 years of age. My mother was raised by her father, but they reached somewhere and things went out of hand. At the age of 18, 16, 17, 18, Mama stayed with her grandmothers. The mothers to her father. The mothers that one of them went to Busoga region and got married to King Kadumbula, where the fourth Chavazinga, the current Nadiope, comes from. I know they were Soga quarreled. He's not a Msoga. When your father is a Msoga, you were what? When your father is a Musoga, you are a what? Your father dominates your family. But when we come to royalty, whoever carries the royalty dominates the family, whether boy or girl. It is the power that royalty comes with. And in Uganda, they give birth to kings. It's not inheritance. Uganda, since the seat of the president belongs to kings and he's already there, we vote. But if you're coming in the race and you don't have God's agenda at heart, you want the Banyankole to be thrown out of Uganda. I hear the Banyankole, the Banyarwanda, and you carry that talk. The State House is not your place. The current president will sit. If you don't change, 60 good years, that's the level he can handle. If his son does not know how leadership works, and you have to disrespect your leader, he will not get the seats. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, at 80 years of age, is coming back in the seat in 2026. You can shout, you can fight, you can abuse, you can go wherever. But it's like opening a tap and you put a basket with holes. Hope you can fetch water in a basket. There is no witch doctor who is going to make a medication or concoction to remove him out of the State House. You can riot, shout. You can wear anything that looks like the army uniform. You don't have the army uniform, you don't qualify. Period. Keep wearing the overalls. You can make a blue overalls, yellow overalls, red overalls. The army does not wear overalls unless they're in the Air Force and they're going to be pilots. Unless they're mechanics and they are going to work on the cars. Because mechanics, engineers enroll in the army. And they make sure that every section, there are 5 arms. The Air Force has mechanics. The Army has mechanics. The Navy has mechanics. The Coast Guards have mechanics. The Army itself has mechanics of the kind of cars they use. Then we have the Special Force. The US introduced the Special Force. It's not very old, where they get all the specialities and put them together. They are special forces. When special forces come out, just to know, it is time to pack our baggers. Uganda have the red top. Those are special forces because they engage everyone in the army. But the specialities. Have you specialized in anything? Those in the those in the opposition, all of you are lawyers. You want to be in the Justice Department? Please go ahead, but justice is not the president. Wisdom. You're all lawyers. Because that is justice. That is not the president's house. You want to take the president to court, but it doesn't make you the president. You're going to take the president to court. You want to take the president to the IRS, ICC. Why are you taking him there? You're taking President Museveni to ICC. Oh, why? What did he do? I said he killed the people. Now, I'm going to put President Museveni here, and those he killed, and why he killed them. And I'm going to also bring you here. And I see every blood you've shed with your mouth and your stupidity. He killed people with a gun. You killed people with your mouth. This is a gun. Use your wisdom. They gave birth to you with wisdom. Make sure you acquire the right knowledge so that you understand what you're talking about before you expose your stupidity. Because the people you have killed with your mouth, President Museveni has done nothing. He went to war. Because the president who was seated there, his business was to destroy people. You destroy people using your mouth. You tower order. You go to witchcraft. You and him who is the sinner. Kitwa pana. You have killed people in your own families and you want the president of Uganda to leave the seat when you are a thief in a family. You are a thief in the church. You are a thief in the schools. You are a thief in those small WhatsApp groups. You. You're stealing family land, you. Pastor, you're stealing people's money and you want the president of Uganda to leave the seat. I heard you heal the broken life. I heard you mend the broken heart. And I heard you restore the broken soul. Son of David, pass me not. I heard you heal the broken life. I heard you mend the broken heart. And I heard you restore the broken soul. Son of David, pass me not. Son of David, 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 pass me not. I heard you raise the dead to life. I heard you clothe a man with might. And I heard you raise man on eagle's wings. Son of David, pass me not. I heard you raise the dead to life. I heard you clothe a man with might. And I heard you raise man on eagle's wings. Son of David. You choose who to talk to. And you want to be my president, you. You want to be my leader. I come to your church and you step on me. I've been stepped on enough. I don't want. You can't WhatsApp group. Esther, forgive us. The snake does not change. I forgive you long time ago. I have a lot of work to do. The leopard does not change its spots. A snake stays a snake. You think I don't know? Many of you have put me back in your WhatsApp groups and you're still a snake. Because you can't handle the power I come with. Because you did not change. Before I know it, you're throwing me off the group again. Who? Who do you play around with when I have work to do? Your group mates are dying. They don't have food, no school fees, no nothing. You just use them. And I join your group again. Me. You can add the number if you have the power. It is you to add the number back, not me. And when I'm there, until the Lord says that I say something, I will not. I stay in my lane. I was told to stay in my lane. My lane has kings. Mothers to kings. My lane has presidents. It doesn't have wananchis. The wananchis, the so-called copycats, have a copy. I give them my wings and will fly high. So that they can be able to go to the next level. But if you bring King, you're just a Rich Walter. A raccoon. You know a Rich Walter? You don't have bad called a Rich Walter. Which schools did you go to? I make sure I fly higher. Center of gravity. You know where it is. You love poking, eh? I leave you to poke me. And I fly high. All I do is to do what you can't do. It's what I'm saying. That's when I fly high. I apologize for your mistake. If you can match up to the standard, welcome to the wing. We are back to Corsair or Hosea. Corsair is my local language. Hosea is the English version. Where did we stop? You bring your King. I can work 24 hours without stopping. If you can handle that, welcome to the wing. I can work 72 hours, 73 hours without stopping. You can match up to the standard, come. Ask around. It's not about me talking about it. Ask those I've worked with. If you can match up to the standard of emptying your own account for people you don't know, and they wake up and badmouth you, and I come back, someone said, Esther, you don't learn. I'm on an assignment, my dear. It has nothing to do with learning. I am doing my assignment before my candle burns out. So that you can put me in your status when I can't breathe. When there is no air in my bones. Ezekiel 37. He told Ezekiel, what do you see? And he told him to tell the bones. And he's like, how do I do that? He told him. And there was a rattling. The Bible says there was a rattle. Do you know what it means to rattle? Bones started joining onto bone to bone, bone to bone, bone to bone. The skeleton stood. And God looked at it and there was no life. There were just bones. And he told him, now breathe. And he blew air. That was done in Genesis when God created man from the dust. With man we work with bones. With God we work with the dust. Man tries to concoct things with what is already there. And they say that they invented. You invented nothing. You worked with an already done product. You didn't invent anything. There is nothing new under the sun. You're working with what is already there that has life. When someone dies, you can't do anything. When they're out, you're out. Some of you have put your dead bodies on. You're busy watering the dead flowers that you killed. I left you a message that has my picture. I will post it again. Smelling a flower. You're busy watering dead flowers. It's you who killed the flower. Deal with it. You can keep watering the dead flowers, and I'm not part of the circle of people that water dead flowers that I killed, because I don't kill anyone's flower. I allow you to flourish and blossom. I'm not part of the killing team. The killing squad is not my expertise. My expertise is to make sure that the dying, kicking horse, the dying flower, is prepared for their last route and dress up in the right garment. I mean the special forces. That is number 6. The bishops. You want to add the word archbishop? That is the team leader of bishops. Kwegamba one. Kichwa. He's still a bishop. He's just a team leader to be called an archbishop. Esther is the pope. He's just a team leader of the Roman Catholic. Hey! There is nothing special. He was just chosen to be the top. You can also be chosen if you have to pay the price. It's about paying the price and you become the sacrifice. You provide the fire. He brings the fire, he brings the sacrifice. Some of you are a sacrifice. You provide, he provides the fire. The fire does not come from us. We just maintain and keep the fire. It is us to bring the sacrifice. And he sends the fire. Don't mix the two. The kind of wood you put on the altar. When you're starting a fire, do you use big wood? But you all want to be big all the time. My friend. Have you ever been in the village setting? You are supposed to use the small women. Women. Now your dozens are here. We are empowering ourselves here. You're not like men. You are women. You bring the warmth at the altar. Hey. You are women. You bring the warmth. You are just the bone of his bones. You're part of his system. The system is already there. You're part of the system. Are you going with the right man? It's not about the money. When the right bone joins the bone, the right ring, money is just a walkover. You're looking at the bat. For crying out, the body needed flesh to cover that small skeleton of yours. Sometimes I want to slap the hell out of you because you carry hell all the time. Chee. You needed flesh to cover the bones. Then you needed a breath of fresh air. But every time you put us in a room, you lock us in there, some of you are smoking. I don't work with smoke in the house. Hence renewable energy. Renew your mind. Hey. I love the firewood, but outside. Or have a chimney that controls the smoke so that it goes through the chimney. Control the smoke before you kill our lungs. I don't smoke. Why should you smoke near me? Sometimes I look at useless human beings. Take your rotten habits out. You started smoking because you went to the US. You think I don't know the people who smoke in church? I hear it's always cold. You have to keep up with the appearance. Keeping up with appearance. You left your country not a smoker. You became a smoker because it was already in your genesis. Your father used to smoke, your uncle, your jaja. You did not just start smoking. When you find me smoking, it's because I allowed it. It's in the legacy. They used to have the pipes. That means I've chosen to go back to the shrine. Use some kichwa energy. You just take a local boom. You're just ignorant. When you are ignorant, when you ignore, you're ignorant. Hence, ignorance and death kicks in. I prefer those who put timers, but make sure the timer you put there allows you to come and check out the warning before you get punched out there. And when you're punched, I don't have energy to cry. We shall bury you. Why not? Some of you, you haven't been losing people. When you start losing people, you start getting annoyed with others. Excuse me. Do you know how many people I've lost when I'm here? Have you bothered to send me a mabgo? Have you bothered to tell me, Esther, sorry about your grandmother? Sorry about your other grandmother? Sorry about your other uncle? Have you? Sure. I know where your heart is. Most of you told me to open up a WhatsApp group. You kept on leaving and you tell me how much you love me, right? Esther, because you share the same things here and there. Because on the other group, there are people who are not this other side. You have refused to join the group. You have refused to follow the channel. What do you want me to do? Use wisdom when you open your mouth. Your mother leaves, you leave. Your father leaves, you leave. Your brother leaves, you leave. Because it's a family affair. I don't blame you. But I see how stupid you can get. Because you have children, you will want people to support your children. Don't forget, when the matriarchs leave, when the women and men who love people leave, we tend to see your small heart. I told you everyone is losing a loved one. But what are you doing about it, calling us your family members? I've worked with people for 40 years. My parents made 41 years in marriage. They've been sick. My dad has been sick for the last 20 years. We've joined the 21st year. My mother's been sick for 12 good years. She's 61. My dad is 68. I am 40 and I've been sick for 40 years. What have you been doing? And you call yourself my friend, my family member. I love you either way. Because there's nothing you can do about it. Not even pray. All the time you're busy. When I call your phone, you're busy. Your phone receives only mobile money. Yes, we shall send them mobile money. You don't want, Esther. My heart is very sick. I don't want to share any sad stories, Esther. That's why I don't call you anymore. Your heart is sick. It's about your heart. And mine is not sick. That is why I'm not going to call you. I will not. I'll deal with my sick body, my sick mother and father. When their time to come comes and the day goes, even if you don't come for burial, it is well with my soul. My husband did not marry anyone. He chose to marry me and walk the mile with me, the way my dad married his wife and they chose to walk together for 41 years. He was 27 years at a time. Mama was 20. Others gave up. Some who are still there, they are doing it for public affairs. They are there to make others happy. They are there to keep their money intact. They are there to destroy the man's family. You don't know them. You want me to show you a woman who is destroying a man's family because the man in Mbuno destroyed her future? Stupidity. It is in the old generation and the younger generation. What can we do but to enjoy the season? Let me show you the ignorant who ignore and become ignorant and death kicks in. Because their heart is all there. That man, your father, Esther, your father. I've been with your father for 50 years. Your father, Tasim, oyo Esther ngenda kubalekawo. Mom, I don't want you to stay in a toxic relationship because of the children. That man will cheat you. Esther, we made the vows. Then keep the vows and keep quiet, but don't destroy anyone getting back at the man's family. You made the decision. It was you were of age when you made that decision to stay with that man. I was not there. It's none of my business. My business is my own marriage. I introduced you to a man. I have been with dating on a distance relationship for 7 good years. Some of you think I just woke up and said I'm getting married. My friend, we prepared. And we said, Nayekati Esther. I told him, please, let's go back home and do stuff from home. Because I would love my parents to be there. Because they're still alive. His parents, akuna bali. My mother is his mother. My father is his mother. He's a father. That's it. My siblings are his siblings. His siblings are my siblings. My aunties are his aunties. His auntie is my aunt. He has introduced me to a few family members that are important to him. I don't foresee to ask him now, how is your Jaja in Nnakalingijo? He did not introduce his Jaja in Nnakalingijo. He did not talk about his Jaja in Nnakalingijo. Why am I pushing the Jaja in Nnakalingijo? Jaja in Nnakalingijo, when Jaja in Nnakalingijo with my husband work on their issues, then they can introduce to me on a table. I don't poke my nose in other people's business. But we talk as husband and wife, and I tell him, sweetheart, hello, how are you? How is your Jaja? Then he's going to ask me which one. I'm like, how many did you introduce? Because with Esther, all my grandparents are done and done. Those who are there are heirs. And the heirs came for my wedding. Those who are not able to make it sent either their wife or their son. I made sure that every house is represented. Those who refused to come, it was their doing. It's none of my business. I made sure that all the pillars in my family are represented. Because we didn't have money. We could afford for only 50 people. And we agreed that when we are ready, then we come back on the table and do the introduction and the church that you all love and know. What we did is what is recognized around the world. And God recognized it. Because God approved that man in 2018. God told me about that man in 2010 after a failed relationship in November. I almost died for 2 good years. So, it is us that introduce our men, or the girls, the boys introduce their girls they want to marry to their families. So if you find my husband not appealing, it's none of my business. Deal with it. You were giving me your son. If you want us to stay friends, stay with your son. I've worked with your son. They disrespect people because you as a father and mother, you disrespect people. I'm not ready to work with a man who's going to disrespect my father and mother. We've worked so hard to be able to stay on the forefront for 41 years as a family. Good. Hosea chapter 4 and verses 7 continue. We are looking at those who ignore because they're ignorant. When ignorance kicks in, death walks in. Hope you're ready to die with your ignorance. Chapter 4, Hosea 7. We ended on verse 6. Let me read it again. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. You don't love to acquire knowledge. You have the wisdom, but knowledge is not part of your circle. And if you don't have the knowledge, there is no understanding either way. Knowledge is information, and information is power. You're not the only one with the information. If you were, God wouldn't have created all of us. Why? For what? I don't come here to compete with you, father, mother. I don't come here to compete with you, girls and boys. I don't compete with my aunties. I don't compete with my relatives. I might look like some of them because it's the bloodline, for crying out loud. The Bible says that man gives birth to his kind. I look like some of you, even if you're very light. Those who know, Navio. I love you, Navio. I wish you knew how much I love you. Your father loved us. Your father respected us. Your father made sure that we are doing well. Your father made sure that we go to school by doing his part of making sure that my auntie is good in the UK. Michelle, Naku, Knight, it's an honor. Frederick Chigozi, it's an honor. Mama Chigozi, Maggie, the professor, the Blick, it's such an honor. Because I do not know if God was not in your heart. I do not know whether I would have gone to school. I have no idea. And I'll leave it at that. The words were spoken. Sometimes we spoke things because we are annoyed and ignorant. Because most of you did not get to know what judges said in the family when they were giving assignments to their boys. Nnakimera gave assignments to her children because her mother, the great-grandmother of all of us, gave instructions to Nnakimera, to Seboa, to Ndagire, and to Mwebe and Kalibala. A mother gives instructions to her children. They talk with the Tata, even if they are not married. My great-grandmother didn't get married. But they made sure that every child under Luyimbazi Walakira, a.k.a. Luwalala, who was killed at 74 years, fights within the kingdom. He was Omugoloba wa Kabaka. He was born in 1875. Go to Manyimbaze Vujubi. You look at the grave, or I'll share the photo, since you have no time to go bury. But you want us to escort you on your burial grounds. We will. But the late Walakira Luyimbazi, a.k.a. Luwalala, is a title given to him by Mwanga, his friend Mwanga. They were fighting. Mwanga threw a spear. It has to be Mwanga too. He threw a spear. My great-grandfather jumped over a wall. And he fell down, and the spear passed on his head. And he was given the name. It's a proverb. It's not a name. Kabeja is a proverb. It's not a name. It's a title to cover the big in her. Don't just use words because you want to use the words. Go find out who you are and where you come from. Without your father, mothers can't be pregnant. Without a man, we need the sperm. That is the power of a sperm. The power of a sperm. And men, you can't be a father without a uterus, because we need the eggs. And you, the last time I checked, you're not a hen. You're not a chicken. Because even a hen needs a chicken. We have a cock and a hen, right? Generally. Wisdom hakuna bali. You don't want men, but you want to be a mother. Stupidity. You end up sleeping with people's men. Stupidity. Why don't you look for your own man? Why are you looking for a man who already has a woman and children? Stupidity. I swear. You're very ignorant. You're very stupid, Galatians. You're just a fool-ish. And people are advocating for it. Yeah, Esther, that is good. You are the mother. She's going to pay for mistakes of going with somebody else's man. Esther, if you become a homewrecker, you're going to pay for the woman's tears in that house. 2 girls out there. And that father of your children is not your husband. And if you found him with another woman already, girls, make sure that man chooses you. Do whatever it takes. But even if he chooses you, and you found that man with children, girls, you think you have the power. When you give birth to a child, that is when your power is reduced. Every time you sleep around and you get pregnant, a piece of you is removed. The energy goes. Being pregnant is not a joke. Going to the labor ward? I've been to the labor ward. I was operated in 2013. They did a C-section. They touched my spinal cord. And a piece of me left. The energy I used to have left. I struggled to look for that girl. You gave birth to a baby. I gave birth to masses. So when you're opening your mouth out there, I have babysat people. I've been a mother since I was in diapers. I'm not in your league. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge of my law, where I reveal my will. Because you, the priestly nation, have rejected knowledge, I will also reject you from being my priest, since you have forgotten the law of your God. I will also forget your children. Hey. And when God forgets your children, don't think he's going to remember your grandchildren, because they're going to be terminated. And if your child is terminated, where are you getting the grandchildren? Why do you think that mothers and fathers rejected you reject the wife or the husband of the boy? You reject my husband, and his family also rejects me. When we give birth to a child, we are brought back on the table. And everyone is like, Esther gave birth to a baby. Hey! My goodness! Who has her number? Esther gave birth to a baby. I look at stupidity in the highest order. After hearing all the rotten words about my husband, now you're jumping around. Tuwangu, your money, auntie, yeah. Oh, who's the child? After disrespecting me, you're not the person to get married. Sweetheart, careful when the devil is using you out there. I don't have to be like everyone. I don't love a bandwagon lifestyle. I don't like uniforms. Whatever I did, you were supposed to sit down, talk to me nicely, and ask me, Esther, why that decision? Why are you getting married like that? I am a U.S. citizen. We go to the registry first. Even if you're here, you go to the registry first. They register your marriage. Then you go and do the other bits. What I did is recognize around the world. Because my husband is not a U.S. citizen. He's a Ugandan. I am a U.S. citizen by naturalization. Naturalization. Not by birth. Naturalization. And I was naturalized on the 10th of June, 2023. I didn't have to come and tell you. Because you decided to ignore my life. Every time I call, you're busy. Every time I call, you're busy. And then you lie to people that I don't communicate. How can I work with a man and a woman who is a liar? You blocked me yourself. And now you're lying to your children. Then you want to be my leader. Me? You can lead that team of small people with small minds. Because small minds discuss people. Big minds, it's a global issue. The more they multiplied in numbers and increased in power, the more they sinned against me. Small minds discuss and destroy. Big minds discuss to see and get a solution so that you can get back afloat. When I discuss you, I want to see how your kids can go to school. When I discuss you, I want to see how your music can move so that you earn some money to educate your own children. When I discuss you, I want your school to grow. When I discuss you, I am investing in myself to see that you grow and you stop begging us. Link in the bio. That is a form of begging. You're just a beggar. You have seen my mobile money number. You have to walk by faith. Put on your shield. I've done it with my parents and my siblings. We walk by faith. And God sends the ravens. You're part of the ravens crew. Esther, we feed you. You're a raven sent by God. Because we are a blessing, a source of great good to others. Genesis chapter 12. I didn't have to know you to send money home and they feed you when you come home. I didn't have to know you for me to educate you. You came to my father's house and you needed help. And I rescued 911. What's your emergency? I don't have where to stay. I found in my father's house. You come from Pastor Tom, you married, but you don't have food. Mama says go to the garden and you pick door. Most of you are getting divorced. You come from Pastor Tom's church and you come to my father's house and sit because we are Levites. Now that you are up there, you have the land. I've seen pastors, young pastors at Pastor Tom blocking me. You were nothing, I saw you. I am a honeymoon baby of that ministry. We used to go to the prayer mountain with Pastor Tom. He started in 1990. I was in my nursery school. In 91, I joined Sheridan boarding primary school. I was 6 years of age. Then I made 7. We used to go to the prayer mountain and that man would kneel on his knees. And I would squat and look at him the whole night. I don't just wake up to come and talk. I've been trained as a watchman. That is why I have a sharp memory. They started at the prayer mountain when he came back. At home, few people were going there. When he had just come back, Mama, the Lord told my mother, go to Mutunde where Tom stays. I have sent him. He has the solution to your child. Mama said, but now, naye mukama kati Tom bino byazze nabyo ali kuki. Because he came from Kabowa. Pastor Tom's mother and my dad's auntie, the late Nnakimera.M.ELKMEng, the names I carry with honors, they went to the same church, Kabowa. They were friends back in them days. You think I just come out and say, My dad and Pastor Tom's brother went to the same school. And because of Chuanka Paul the late, my dad was thrown out of school. And because of father's friend, whom they used to play with boxing at their village, Tata was able to go back to school. And he told him, Kalibala, don't tell them that you are saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. Tell them that I'm taking you to Chibuli as a boxer, as a coach. When they allow you inside, then you tell them you're also in senior 3. You can study. My dad went to Chibuli as a boxer coach. He went to coach kids in boxing. That is how Chibuli Senior Secondary School gets sciences. And your kids now are scientists. Esther, that was not documented. It wasn't supposed to be documented. The Lord allowed it that way. We are not recognized because we don't work for man. When Tata gave his life to Christ, we left the table of being recognized and remembered. Because his grandmother was not recognized, but she was used to protect a king because she carried the prophetic. My family members, I know they have used you to a point of destroying you. Because for us, when we work, we give our hearts out. There is a young man called Martin Lubwama. He's one of the biggest engineer Uganda has, a civil and structural engineer. He has worked on all the roads that you see that are good, that you keep posting around. I was part of the team that did the environmental impact assessment on the southern bypass and the northern bypass. Martin Lubwama on the team of those who do the geos. I was part of the team that did Namamve, the industrial park. I was sent alone with Nkutu Arthur. That work was given to Geotaxon Consult, where David Nkutu and the late Paul Segawa Dr. Sally were the team leaders. Other people were sent. The freelancers came in and they used my work. They just came to sign on the reports because they are certified practitioners in NEMA. As an assessor, you pay 1 million Ugandan shillings at a time. And as an auditor, you pay 1 million. So you have to pay 2 million shillings to be certified. But you pay 600,000 Ugandan shillings to be an associate in the association, which I'm not even part of. Because I never paid the money. But I did the work where they signed. I went with Arthur. Then I had to go. Did we go back with the Odeke? Odeke did the geos. I went to Dr. Maggie Chigozi's office when she was still in Uganda Investment Authority. And they gave me another person to talk to who was in charge of the environment officer. I did all the socials. We worked with Arthur Nkutu. And I used to tell him, Arthur, you cannot stay an administrator, you cannot stay a driver. You need to become an associate. Right now, Arthur has the company as an associate. He learned by association. He didn't have to go to school. Then later he added on other certificates. Because he worked with the best. David Nkutu and the late Dr. Paul Segawa trained me right. But they wouldn't have met me if Moses or Tim had not found me at the university, in Chambog University. He was my lecturer in environmental impact assessment and audits. He was my supervisor for my first project when I designed a biological wastewater treatment system for Ann Arbor tour. My case study was Wankulukuku, near the stadium, the Kabaka Stadium, where I had to get the rights of animals. The late Niyibizi, I was there presenting my work. And then I asked them, do you have a question? The guys on the panel said, do you have a question for the presenter? Because the late Niyibizi loved intimidating. He was a lecturer in the industry, those guys who did industrial engineering. Everyone kept quiet and looked at me while presenting my work. I panicked. The young man called Setuwa Charles helped me to put in line my slides. We had laptops, but we needed people who were good at what they do. Setuwa Charles first worked with Pickfair. Then he left. Pickfair is under Oscar Industries, and those are my relatives. You know Oscar Industries? You don't know? Kona tugende simbula embalasi. Si simbula embalasi mukwano. Nsitula nnyonyi. Era sawa yona ennyonyi egenda gwebeera. Now he works the parliament. He's an industrial engineer. He helped me with my slides to organize them. He helped me with that Microsoft PowerPoint. We had people who were good at what they do. Alban Mohammed and Duncan Atkwase, M-Global, and Chigundu Daniel. Chigundu Daniel was is a civil engineer. Alban Mohammed is a telecom engineer. Duncan Atkwase is an environmental engineer like me. But they all chose their own paths. It's me and Dan Chigundu who love and stayed in our field. Dan Chigundu is one of the biggest structural engineers you have in Uganda. They've done different projects with different big companies. I met them at Chambogo University. When Mr. Gesa was teaching us computer, introduced us to computer, where he introduced us to the software and hardware. And we had to study floppy disks, flashes, CDs. Some of you are struggling with IT because you were not introduced to IT. When you study environmental engineering, or when you study engineering in Chambogo, and I believe also Makerere does the same thing. I do not know. With Makerere, I went there for my master's, so the rest is none of my business. One thing I know about Makerere, they love using our work as Chambogo students because we are a baby to Makerere University 20 years ago. It was a small department. They took to Chambogo. A small department. It was a mechanical department in Makerere University. And they split it and it got a piece of Makerere. Makerere is a mother to Chambogo University. Now mothers destroy babies. Mothers terminate babies. They remove the pregnancy. When I see lecturers in Makerere University destroying us, I'm like, man, you use my work to become a professor. Your part is to use my work and become a professor, and I don't graduate. And you want free money. Makerere University, train your undergrads the right way. You touched the wrong girl. They said, Makerere's lecturer said that I am the one who plagiarized work. Were you there when I was doing the work? You were defending Oko. Tanzania gave me an A. Makerere gave me less than 60. And when you don't get 60 in Makerere, you cannot graduate. Where is Oko Richard right now? His own poor character. I talked to Pastor Arthur Otim, that's his brother. And he told me, did you ask the Lord? he never prayed for me. That is Miracle Center Cathedral. He's the team lead, Miracle Center Center. I used to stay above Miracle Center Center. It was just below when I was doing my master's. That's where I first rented with engineer Angela Nareiso Senyondo, Uganda's coast engineer. He told me, Pastor Arthur Otim told me, did you ask the Lord? He did not even bother to pray for me because I was having trouble penetrating with my supervisor. My supervisor used to smoke, but people didn't know. When the committee fired him, I was not there. I never went to police. No, my friends. All I did was Dr. Albert Rugumayo, Nnakimera.M.ELKMEng. That man loved me. I did not know why. He went and investigated. He studied with my auntie who follows my dad in King's College, Budo. And they even took him to a class higher because he was a genius. And his father, the senior Rugumayo Ministry of Energy, was my grandfather's friend in King's College, Budo. Dr. Albert Rugumayo was a vice chancellor for Ndeje University, but he was a lecturer in Makerere University. He was my co-supervisor. He lectured me in energy efficiency. I was in the 5th cohort of renewable energy, 2011-2012. And trust me, I was the best student my year. I retake solar energy. And I told the Lord, the way they have told me. Wilson brought our papers and he said, Esther Nnakimera, you also failed? In my heart I said, Wilson, the way you read my name that I failed is the way you will read my name when I pass. I sat down, did my paper again. I got 80% in solar energy. Tanzania gave me an A for my research. And they requested me to go to Dodoma University to do my my master's. Then I can go and do my PhD because I qualified. And they were ready and willing to pay the tuition. Now, omwana ochimubeko. I qualified without even applying for a master's, then a PhD in Dodoma University, in line with renewable energy. Lecturers yearned for me. Dr. Albert Rugumayo introduced me to his last born, the civil engineer, a young girl. He told me, why didn't you tell me? In 2018, he told me, Esther, why didn't you tell me? I didn't even know that you were sick. We are tired of such people in the universities. I told him, Dr. Rugumayo, you can talk to the Dean, Faculty of Engineering. I can present my work online so that I can graduate. I did not know that Dr. Rugumayo had cancer. Thank you so much, Andrew Mwenda, for recognizing Dr. Albert Rugumayo and writing a lovely tribute about him. I read about it and my heart was well with my soul. I know he rested happy because he made sure. I told Dr. Albert Rugumayo, I should be the last child to be treated like this. Other children cannot fall victims. I left my job. I am a breadwinner home. I left my job to study. and someone's son thinks they have the power to take my work and I don't graduate. You can use my work, but you make sure you put in time and I graduate. He kept quiet. Instead of sitting with me and we finalize work, everyone who helped me, they asked me for my scientific paper in 2013. I went for surgery, they didn't even know. A week after my surgery, I was sent home after 3 days, and a week after the surgery of a C-section, as if I gave birth, I was sent an email. Esther, can you prepare a scientific paper? Because they wanted to present it in Entebbe. A paper. There was a conference, and Okol Richard changed the title, but left the body, recognized me as the author, presented and published my work, and it was passed. But he did not create time for me so that I can work with him and we complete the work so that I can present my work to the committee in Makerere University so that I'm approved to go and graduate. They marked my report. Tanzania gave me A. Makerere failed me. All I had, I plagiarized work because my paper was already published. And I'm not an undergraduate of Makerere University. I came from their baby, Chambogo University. There was no way I was competing. I found 2 elephants fighting, and me, the grass, I fell a victim with others. And I told Dr. Albert Rugumayo, we should be the last batch to be treated like that. Trust me, I was the last batch. Makerere gave amnesty to the likes of me, but 2012 and 2024 is a long time. When I went back for my wedding, I went to Makerere and the amnesty had already closed. I was told to go back now to the Senate and I start afresh to see how I can graduate. I didn't have time to do that, but I have the phone numbers of the right people to call if I ever want to be recognized as one of the graduates from Makerere University. The team that was released for masters, I was supposed to be part of that team. All I needed was the right people to talk to, but it was too late. They sent me on the 11th of November, when on the 12th of November I had to be on the plane back. There was not much I could do. It was painful because I left things. I would have stayed at work. By the time I went back to work, I found 6 people doing one work that I used to do. That is how big I can get. While doing in 2012, the late Paul Segawa called me. We had work for Shell Uganda. Pinnacle Consult got that work. We were subcontracted. We're not even contracted. We were subcontracted. That time I had Tanzanians to run around with because I was the class coordinator for my course. I had to make sure that I work with the likes of Walugembe Robert, Edward, Mutebi Walugembe Robert. He's also from the royal family. He's Captain Robert Walugembe, one of the grandchildren to the late Beswedi Mulondo. The mother to his father is a sister to the late Beswedi Mulondo. And Beswedi Mulondo's last borns, Peter Mawanda. Mawanda is a rugby player. And Juko. I have a scar because Juko carried me when I was young. and I slid. He slid, and I put my hand in a pot of boiling beans, because there was a charcoal stove behind the door. They rented in the compound where Zuri apartments are. That's where I grew up from, in Nnakimera-M.ELKMEng. Their mother is singing in Kabowa Church of Uganda. Me, I met Walugembe at Makerere University when I went back to do my master's in renewable energy. And he became my friend. Not just an acquaintance. I said my friend. He has children I love so much. And I share a birthday with one of his daughters called Vicky. We had to take care of Tanzanians. And I made sure the late Besweli Mulondo goes back to the Lord after giving his life to Christ. Robert took me to Mitiana so that we see that we can pump water from the well and we send it up to his grandmother's house. Because I had done environmental engineering and I did environmental impact assessment and audits, and I met a man called Odeke Joseph. He's a geologist. He sits at the National Theatre. I will share his details. He's one of the biggest and the best geologists who can drill water for you. He taught me how to listen to the ground and know that there is water. Odeke Joseph. When you reject knowledge, you're going to die aimlessly. And your children are going to be forgotten. We helped the Tanzanians who came to Uganda. When my mother was operated, Dr. Paul calls me, Esther, come and finish up the work, because he knows the energy I carry. He had begged the so-called certified consultants and they were not giving him the work. I told him, Dr. Paul, I am very sorry. I've never said no. But this time round, I can't. I have Mama in hospital. We were going for surgery in October. I have the Tanzanians to run around with to make sure they get the right food. One of them was pregnant. I had to take her to Mengo Hospital to be checked because I have family and friends there. I used that opportunity that Mama was getting, was in Albert Cook. When I took my mother to Albert Cook, one of the family members said, they are poor. Why is she taking her mother? My friend, that is my mother. I can afford anything. That work of Shell Uganda, I was expecting 6 million Ugandan shillings, and I was covered for my mother's surgery. But because someone delayed with the work, she got 6 million. She was supposed to get 12. She got my 6 million. I got 1.7. And the hospital wanted 3 million for my mother's surgery. I got the 1 million. And I put it as a seed. Then I collected money from family and friends who just came wearing ngalo without nothing. And they told me that I disrespected them. How can I just send a message and not call? Yet I called and they were not picking their phones. Others told me they don't have money. They are family members. Church people, few collected, brought money and came to see us when Mama was in hospital. My OBs came. Deo Kaketo gave me his car. Why not love such people? Amanya Ndio with the son to Katuku the late Mengo Senior School. He walked, came to hospital, came home to see my parents. Amanya came to see me when I didn't have work, when I'm sick. I was seated in Mperere. He came with Joseph Mbazira, the engineer in UNRA, one of the biggest, the civil engineer. They came to see me and took me. I told them I'm not well. Amanya was like, no, go dress up and we'll take you out, sha. And they took me to near, there is a restaurant near the Uganda Museum. One of the best, corporate style. And we sat there and laughed. There was a time I went out with Dale at near Novik, the petrol station at near Novik. On as you're going to Bombo Road, as you're going to Wandege. And they gave us tea, I hear African tea. Then they gave us sugar. We called it a time bomb. It had a hole, the tin was covered, and it had a hole inside where they put a pipe. And that pipe, when you do like this, the sugar it brings is 1 teaspoon. We looked at that tin and I told Deo, now, seriously, we are used to a sugar ball with a spoon. These guys are giving us. We laughed. You know, we took tea without sugar because none of us wanted to ask the waiters how it's done. By the time we saw someone using it, our tea was almost finished and cold. I told Dale, we shall write a book and put this in the book, and we laugh because we looked as if we didn't go to school. If you don't know something, ask. When I came back home, I made sure I see Dale Kaketo on a personal level. Because those are men that stood in the gap. When I hear people's wives telling me I want to take their men, the last time I checked, I met those men before you did. Next time, open your mouth wisely. Because of Janice Mukulu, I met Mulondo Victor David. I met Alan Gunn. I met Deo Kaketo. I met Adrian. I met Mutaka Joseph. I met Gamba Godfrey. And through Adrian Kayonga, I met his entire family, where we find MC Habo. And I made sure that MC Habo's company flies higher. I found something that is already there, and I stood in the gap. When Herbert Nsereko got COVID, he almost died. I started praying for him. They removed me off the WhatsApp group that was for his wedding. Adrian once told me, you're not going to write the wrong English in my brother's company. I created that Facebook group that has Habo. MC Habo. How did I meet him? He was a chairman on Alan Gunn Nsubuga. Alan Nsubuga. Gunn comes from his name. Gunn Enterprises. Gunn group of companies. He has a company and it has Gunn. I was the secretary, and that's how I met Shami Talija, Mama Muloko Down, Chitiwa Foundation. Because when I was leaving the country, I went and said bye to Alan Gunn and his wife. They were staying in Kamoj. And Alan told me, Esther, we have this idea of Chitiwa. It was an idea. They asked me, what do you think? I wrote everything down. I have the book here. And Alan asked me why I was leaving Uganda and what I'm going to do abroad. He told me, why don't you stay at home? Alan Gunn, the Lord sent me to the US because of Chitiwa Foundation. I came to hospital to stand with your wife for your firstborn Chitiwa. because God had Chitiwa Foundation at heart. I requested them to put me on the team I hear of the members of board. Alan refused. I said it is well with my soul. And they left me at a level of a partner. People who partner with Chitiwa Foundation. At first I got hurt. But right now, the way things are, I love my position as a partner. When you partner with God's work, God does your work. At first I was annoyed. I was like, those people you're putting on the board, I hear the board, because they are his OBs from Makerere College and in Deje, where I was known. Me, I'm just a third wheel. Met in 2010 because of Janice Mukulu. I accepted my position because I failed in a relationship with their friend who sent them to warn me. But I met Mutaka Fredo because of the oil industry. He keeps on blocking me. And I'm like, I saw them nga tuyana, nga Joel Osenyonya abakunya about the oil. Baba kunya nentunula neseka nengweri. I met Fredo in Kanungu when they hit a snag on Mapundu. He was even very sick. That's how I met Fredo. He keeps on blocking on his numbers. I laugh and I'm like, you also post the scriptures. Now you're blocking me. Young men and women, God allows you to meet people for the glory of his name. I prayed for Mutaka when he was sick, Fredo, in Kanungu. That's where we met. I did not meet him because of anyone in the circles of the happy people. People out there, you want to be corporate, the next in line. You want to be leaders. You want your associations, your groups, everything that you're doing, people to stand in the gap for you. In 2025, get ready and brace yourself as I leave. Because your children are going to be forgotten. And when your children are forgotten, your grandchildren are forgotten, everything about you is going to be forgotten. Until you give your life to Christ and you walk right with the Lord and you release the love of God out. Don't just post scriptures. You are a Catholic, I see you posting scriptures. You are a Protestant, the scriptures. The Muslims are doing the same. And for them, they write in Arabic. They don't even know what it means. It is the same thing flipped in Arabic. They just remove a few things to fit their mindset. Muslims, you are children to a maid. Haggai was a maid. And Ishmael gave birth to 13 children, but the 13th child was a girl. He gave birth to 13 sheikhs, the prince of Egypt. They are not Muslims, it's not a religion. They came as a result of Sarah not waiting. That is why they don't go to school. They marry very fast. Marry 4. I hear 4 are approved. 4 are not approved. Abraham had 3. Jacob had 4. They came as a result of family culture. I will help you. And if you don't change Muslims, Genesis 16 is after you. Without the shedding of blood, there is no forgiveness. Be careful when you're reading it in Hebrews. Make sure Leviticus is also on the map. Because Muslims are being hunted. It's in Genesis 16. So have some good manners, my Muslim brothers and sisters. I am a granddaughter to a Hajat, a Nalongo, the late Nansubga Khadija Nalongo Hajat. She met my grandfather. They met in a bus, the late Lad Musoke, a Catholic. So I'm a mixture of a Catholic, a Muslim, a Protestant, witch doctors. And I gave my life to Christ. Hence, I'm a game changer. Until you become a game changer, you can continue blocking me with your small wisdom. Hosea 4 verse 7. The more they multiplied in numbers and increased in power, the more you increase in power and multiply in numbers, the more they sinned against me. Because you have traveled. Traveling is a bonus. Everyone is entitled to traveling. I'm not the first one to travel in my family. That day they will recognize your grandfather and give the name to an airline because they are recognizing your grandfather, and you sit on an airline and the Dutch recognize you, the Swedish recognize you, the UK, the US, you can match up to the standard. But as of now, I don't fly KLM. I fly Turkish Airlines. Because what happened to KLM? Has the Turkish airline fallen into? And we see what the problem is? Because every time I sit in the camp of the Kalibala, Luwalala, Matini, Chigozi Luwama, Matini, all I see disrespect. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm good where I am. I stay in my lane of the watchman over the land. I hear, I see, I blow the trumpet and warn you. Verses 8 of Hosea chapter 4. They, the priests, fed on the sin offering of my people and set their heart on their wickedness. The rate at which you are wicked, the cricketers cannot even handle the wickets. You love cricket. I come from a family where a man was recognized 50 years as a cricketer. Walusimbi Samuel, the last born of Nnakimera.M.ELKMEng. Don't follow my Bible, please. Among the things that fall, don't fall. Every time I mention your name, God is protecting you with your children so that you can see your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. I don't just mention a name I hear, Mkuswaza. Your own mouth disrespected you. Your own poor character disrespected you. Now I'm putting it right, correcting your generational wickedness. Because your fathers and mothers look the same. Because I want this to come out the right way. Time to kick wickedness out of us. So that you keep telling us how you are a liar. You're not a cat. To all the lions. You know, I work with lions. I work with the big five. Hello. You are a big 5. Okay. Let me see how big you are. You know they put us in clans, eh? To disrespect us, clans of animals. I cannot look like a mbogo. No, my friend. Sorry. Again and again, don't complicate it. I say rewind it. Again and again, don't complicate it. I say rewind it. Again and again, don't complicate it. I say rewind. You're my dwelling place. You're my refuge. You're my hiding place. You are my fortress. And now to my left. You have the power and authority down on me, and lifter of my hands. You have the power and authority, and lifter of my hands. Now about you, be careful when you're disrespecting people in your small circles and phones. You don't know who we are. You want to be treated like her? Oh, be beautiful, contagious, forever, that love together, that drives me crazy. I don't need another lover. You want me to treat you like him? Work harder. Can't deny it. Your love controls me. Can't deny it. Everything about you. Na na na. Everything about you. I love everything about you. You want me to treat you like him? Work hard. Got your falling star. If I ask you, at the cross you made a way. You took the 99. You want me to treat you like the owner of this book? Work hard. You want me to treat you like her? Because you're part of the Abigail Ministries. You got to work hard. Think about you. Na na na. Rewind it again and again, don't complicate it. I say rewind it. I say rewind it again and again, don't complicate it. You want me to treat you like these men? The 7 great prayer warriors: George Muir, Hudson Taylor, Charles Finney, David Brainerd, Madame Gwyn, and Praying Heidi, and Reese Howells. Because you're a praying woman? Are you sure? Until you become Hannah. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God, our Father, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us forevermore and evermore and evermore. Amen. Don't forget to watch these men down here. These are instructions. Pastor Tom Mugerwa, Dr. John Mulinde, Pastor Robert Kayanja with his family, Apostle John Bunjo and the Bunjoville with his wife, Apostle Michael Chimli, Pastor Howard, The Stand, Brown, Howard Brown, Florida, Tampa, Florida. Pastor Ben Ochola, Pastor Mark Chigozie and his wife, Maureen Chigozie, Dr. Reverend Musa Toure, and Archbishop Duncan Williams. I'm just the publisher of God's work. Those men, since the season started, and Rest TV, never give up until the battle is over. The program led by Pastor Mwesigwa and Pastor Isaac Chobech Wewe Sikansango Miracle Center. It is never give up until the battle is over. That program, all the big pastors you know in the nation that you respect are supposed to sit there and tell you the journey. And you're supposed to watch daily. I will release the list. But they changed in ranks. Because now Apostle John Ivonjo is the one who leads the team. But he has not yet gone to pray for Pastor Robert Kayanja with Apostle Michael Chimuli. To pray for Pastor Robert Kayanja. And tomorrow, Robert Kayanja is making 63 years. His birthday is the 24th of January. Now, let that man make 63 years tomorrow. The window closes. Whenever you disobey, the window closes for you because you don't know what the Lord had in stock for you. And you know Kayanja Robert has had partners who don't walk away. Kayanja Robert, everything he touches, it grows and multiplies. Now, when the Lord asks you to do something and you refuse, because it's not your son, it is not your daughter, it is not from your church. I, Esther Solome, I deliver the message and keep quiet. Kawesa filler, match up to the standard. Take your team to Apostle Alex Mitala. Moses Mukisa, the apostle. Take your young blood of team pastors that you ordained, bishops, the fivefold ministries. Make sure they are rededicated by Apostle Alex Mitala. Make an appointment so that he comes to worship Harvest in Nadia. Because what you did is not what God wanted. Now, Apostle Grace Vega, did you go back to Bishop Isaiah Muge? You're still waiting for the bells to ring. Keep waiting. I, Esther Solome, I deliver the messages. The rest is none of my business. So, Kawesa house. Time to match up to the standard. If you know you have the Kawesa calf, enter the house and lock the door. Don't allow anyone who is not a Kawesa to enter. If Isaac Kalonji Kawesa is not in the country, make sure he's online. You guys enter and Rachel Damulida Kawesa sings and God comes down in the house and you're all filled with the Holy Spirit. It happened in the upper room so that Phila Kawesa can wear the garment right. As of now, I sign out. See you when I see you. Bye-bye. It's always an honor to serve.